Hello and welcome to Finding Your Edge. My name is Jared Jenkins and I manage the Alberta side of the Cypress Hills Interprovincial Park, including the Hidden Valley Ski Resort. Skiing is an awesome activity and can be great fun for the whole family. We've asked some Alberta Parks staff to share their advice on how to make sure your ski trip is rewarding and safe. Most likely, unless you own your own gear, your ski trip is going to start at the rental shop. So let's head over there.
Welcome to Hidden Valley Ski Resort's rental facility. When you get here, you're going to be greeted by our rental techs at the front door. They're going to help you get all of your gear that you're going to need for the day. When you first come through the door, they're going to help you fill out your forms. On here, you need to be honest. It's going to ask you about your ski ability or snowboard ability, and just be honest because that's going to help you to have the right gear for what you need. When you are choosing your skis, it is important that you choose a ski height that is appropriate for you. So if you are new to the sport, make sure that you choose a ski that's a little bit shorter. And if you are a more advanced skier and looking for a bit of a challenge, you will want to probably pick a ski that's a bit longer. But our rental techs are here to help you with all of those decisions. You'll notice on our forms that it has different types of skier. A skier that's a level 1 has probably never skied before, or maybe just once or twice in their lifetime. Or a lot of times we get adults that have come through and they haven't skied since they were in their teens. So this would be a good choice for you, and it's going to get you the right setup so that you have a successful day on the hill. A skier that's a type 2 probably skis 3 or 4 times a year, still is working on some technique, but isn't quite confident on doing all of our black diamonds. So this would be a good setup for that type of skier. And a skier that is a level 3 skis often and maybe just showed up to our hill because they didn't have their gear because they're on vacation. The ski techs will adjust your skis so that you can ski more challenging terrain throughout the day. When picking a snowboard, the rental techs will help you to pick a board to suit your height. Something that's important with snowboarding is which foot should go forward, and this is commonly something that you might not know. The rental techs usually ask you what foot you kick a soccer ball with, and that's going to be your dominant foot. Surprisingly, that foot goes at the back, and it will help you to control your board while you're on the hill. After you fill out your forms, you are going to come through to the back of the rental facility, and there you'll find a wall of boots. You're going to want to find your shoe size. Find that on the row of boots, and take those boots off the shelf and place your boots onto the shelf. When you choose your ski boots, you want to make sure that they're not too big or too small. Boots that are too big are going to cause you to slide around and you're going to get blisters or sores on your feet. Boots that are too tight are just going to cause your feet to go numb and you'll be uncomfortable with cold feet for the rest of the day. So make sure that you take time to find the boots that are just your size. Again, if you need help with this, we do have rental techs that can help you pick out the boots that are just right for you. After you have your boots, you're going to come to the back of the rental facility, and the rental techs will help you set up your boots and your skis to the right size. They'll adjust the bindings so that your boots fit properly into them. Your boots need to be the right fit for your ski binding. This is dependent on your ski ability. If you're new to the sport, they will have the bindings done a little bit looser. This is so that you can come out of the binding if you do have a crash or a fall. And if you are a more advanced skier, they will do them a little bit tighter so that your ski boots don't fall out as easily. Find the right fit for poles. Take your pole, flip it upside down so that the handle is on the ground. Then take your hand and place it right underneath of the basket. Your arms should make a 90-degree angle. This is going to be the most comfortable way to ski for the day. If they're too long, your arms will be too high, and if they're too low, you'll feel like you're touching the ground. Wearing a helmet on the ski hill is the most important part of your gear because that's going to be what protects your head. I always wear a helmet when I'm skiing. If you do crash, your head will hit the ground, and your helmet is the only thing between your head and the hard ice or snow. Our rental techs take great care in making sure that our equipment is up to performance standards. One of the steps in doing this is making sure that it's properly waxed for the right weather conditions. On warmer days, our rental techs use a lighter colored wax, and this helps our gear to slide a little bit easier on the sticky snow. On colder days, our rental techs use a darker wax, and that helps the gear to slide better on the colder, harder snow.
Now that you have the proper equipment, it's time for Justina to review the Alpine Responsibility Code. This is the code of conduct that ensures that everyone skiing on the hill skis safely together.
Part of skiing is staying safe and taking care of each other on the hill. By following the Alpine Responsibility Code, we can make sure that we're looking out for ourselves and for others. There are elements of risks that common sense and personal awareness can help reduce. Always stay in control. You must be able to stop and avoid people. People ahead of you have the right of way, and you need to be responsible for avoiding them. Do not stop where you obstruct a trail or are not visible from above. Before starting downhill or merging onto a trail, look up the hill and yield to others. If you are involved or witness a collision or accident, you must stay on the scene and identify ski patrol. Always use proper devices to help prevent runaway equipment. Observe and obey all posts and signs. Keep off closed trails and closed areas, and you must not use the lifts or terrain if your ability is impaired through the use of alcohol or drugs. You must have sufficient physical dexterity and ability and knowledge to safely load and ride lifts. If you are in doubt, please ask the lift attendant. Know the code and be safety conscious. It's your responsibility.
The Alpine Responsibility Code ensures that everyone skiing on the hill skis safely together. But there are areas on the park where specialized rules apply. Let's hear from Jane as she shares her top 4 terrain park safety tips.
Hey everybody, I want to give you a few tips about riding the terrain park. And for those of you who don't know what the terrain park is, it's a series of jumps, rails, and boxes set up for skiers and snowboarders to enjoy. But let's be safe, so I'll leave you with a few tips here. First, make a plan. Ride by everything and just check it out. Make sure it's skiable for you. Second of all, look before you leap. Look around, make sure no one's on the takeoff and below the takeoff. And if you do fall, make sure you get off that takeoff so you're not hit next. 3, easy style it. Go off the jump slow. Don't do anything fancy the first time. Work your way up to that. And 4th, respect gets respect. Make sure you respect everyone around you, including the employees. We work really hard for you to enjoy it, so let's be safe, and I want to see you in the terrain park.
We always recommend a ski lesson if you've never been on a hill before. Even experienced skiers can use a refresher if it's been a while. Mike Ratcliffe, head instructor for our ski school program, has put together some tips for beginners, intermediate, and advanced skiers.
It is a beautiful sunny day, and it's a perfect day to get out and learn how to ski. A couple of things you should think about if you're a beginner though, is first of all, how you dress. You need to dress appropriately. If we look at Justina, she's got good gloves on, nice jacket. Wool gloves, typically not very appropriate. If they get wet, they stay wet, you end up with very cold hands. Better to have some kind of waterproof jacket on, and at the same time, lots of layers underneath, not just one big layer, and it traps the heat in and you're going to be nice and warm. Waterproof pants, and some things that people sometimes forget about is on the inside of the pant, there's sometimes a little snow cuff. This needs to go on the outside of the boot rather than on the inside. If you tuck it in on the inside and then do your boots up, it can actually end up being a little uncomfortable. So better to have it on the outside. And then she obviously has her own boots, but you might be in rental boots. The next thing that we think about as a beginner is our skis. How do we put skis on? What are they for? Well, these particular skis, just like all skis, have a set of bindings on them. We have a toe piece and a heel piece, and the heel piece is the part that is very important. If this part is down, we can put the ski on. And when we press down, it clicks up and holds our foot in place. Very important to remember that if you want to take the ski off, you have to push this part down. Typically, you use a pole or your other ski. If the ski falls off, then again, you also have to make sure that this part is pushed down before you can put the ski back on. A lot of people forget to do that and then wonder why their ski's not going on. Always click it down, then try and put your ski on. So we're going to learn how to slide around on one foot, just to try it out and give yourself some balance. So Justina, if you would like to put on any particular ski, there's no left or right. Just put your toe in, your heel on the cup, and when your heel's in the cup, push down nice and hard until it clicks.
What if there's snow on my boot?
That's a very good point, because this is a little sticky today. What you can do is you can just rub the bottom of your boot. You have some poles that you can get off. You can even tap your pole on the bottom, or you can scrape it across the top of the bindings to try and scrape the ski off, the snow off. There we go. And all we're going to do is just go for a little slide across the slope, and I'll put mine on. And the important thing as a beginner is to get used to the feeling of sliding. It's not a very natural feeling, but it's the fun part of skiing. So let's see if we can push ourselves along and see how far we can slide. And we try and balance on that one foot. Because the next thing we're going to learn is how to balance on two skis. The key thing now is to improve the turning, to take her onto other parts of the hill, increase the terrain that she's using, and control and maintain the speed that she's got. So we're going to go through one of the most important things on this, and that's balancing on the outside ski. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Let's go do it.
Where should I be standing to get the most out of my ski?
Well, ideally, you should be standing in the middle of your outside foot, and that helps you balance through the turn.
Okay.
So now that we're coming down the magic carpet, we eventually build up a little bit more speed, and as we turn, we have to balance towards our outside ski, and that'll help us give us some grip and some control over our direction.
And how will I know which one's my outside ski?
Well, if you're turning to the right, it's actually going to be the opposite side. It's your left. And if you're turning to the left, it's going to be your right side. So I hope you've had fun. Now that you're turning and you're controlling your speed and direction, the hill opens up to you. You can go lots more different places. And what we've done is we've looked at just a couple of the very basic things that we come across very often from beginners, such as the gear, getting it comfortable, and then balancing towards the outside ski. There's a lot of other stuff in there, and the best thing you can do as a beginner is take a lesson from a pro and then go have lots of fun with it. Okay, so Justina, we've gone from the magic carpet, we've gone through the green runs, you're starting to ski parallel on green runs, so we're now venturing onto more intermediate terrain, and that's the blue run. So how do you feel about that?
Well, it's pretty steep and I'm feeling pretty nervous about it.
And that's pretty normal for a first time up here. You look down a blue run, you think, I need to control my speed. I have a little trick for you, and this is a really good way of putting everything that you've done into practice, ready for taking on steeper terrain. So there's three things that I need you to remember, and that's turn it, feel the grip, stand on it.
Okay.
Try and remember those.
Turn it, feel it,
And
stand on it.
Okay, and this applies to the outside ski. I'm going to start when I go across the hill by turning my uphill ski. That begins the next turn. Also puts the ski on its edge a little bit so that I have some grip. That's what I want to feel. I want to feel that grip as I go around the turn. As soon as I feel that grip, I need to stand on that grip and balance on the outside ski as I complete my turn.
Okay.
Think we want to try that?
I'm ready to try it.
Okay, let's try it. Let's watch out for these guys coming down. Should always look above you. And we're going to go across. So I'm going to take my uphill ski, I'm going to turn it, feel the grip, stand on it. 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 Good. We're at the top of a black diamond run. So Justina, we've progressed through green runs, through blue runs, you're skiing parallel everywhere. You're doing really, really well. Now we're going to venture onto a black run. How does that make you feel?
It's really steep. That makes me nervous.
Yeah. So compared to what we've done previously, it can sometimes seem like a bit of a step up. So what do you think is going to help you? What would you like to achieve coming down this black run?
I want to feel like I'm in control of myself and of my skis.
Excellent. So one thing that we can do to really help this is when we're turning our skis, we need to turn them all the way across the hill. And that will help us slow down and maintain our speed. But these things, the pole plant, actually helps as well. So if I'm going down the hill, I'm going to make sure that my feet are turned all the way across me, but I'm going to keep on looking down the hill. And then when I pole plant, I'm going to pole plant in a direction down the hill as well. This really helps with my toes pointing across, my body facing where I'm going to go next, and it helps me balance over that downhill ski. Okay, that's going to give me lots of grip and lots of control. going to feel very weird though, because you're now looking down the hill. Okay?
Okay.
Let's practice standing here. Here, and then wall climb. Good.
And here's Ian, one of our snowboarding instructors, with some of his tips for beginners.
Snowboarding is a fun and interesting way to make your way down the mountain and enjoy the winter months. If you've tried skiing before, there's very similar aspects involved. You might want to give snowboarding a go. If you've never tried either before, snowboarding is definitely a place to start. If you have tried skiing, you'll notice there's some differences. We have soft boots and softer bindings to be able to give us better control of the snowboard, as we just have the one board as opposed to two skis. We also have edges, just like on skis, that help us control our speed and our direction. The main difference with the bindings being softer is we've got these straps that hold our feet in there. They're very simple, might look a little bit confusing, but they're just a ratchet strap, so we can get them as tight as we can around our boots to get best comfort and easiest to move the board around. If our bindings or our boots are loose, we'll find we won't be able to control the snowboard. I'll show you how these go on. We have a high back, which goes up behind our leg. We have ankle straps and toe straps. Trick is to get your foot right in there at the back of the binding. Get them done up nice and snug so your boot's not going to move around. And that way, we have full control of the snowboard. If it's your first time trying snowboarding, I recommend trying something a lot flatter and mellower. Don't go straight up the hill on the chairlift. You might not have as much fun and it will put you off trying it in future. First things you want to be doing is getting used to these edges on the board. We have a heel edge at the heel side and a toe edge over your toes. And these edges are for controlling our speed and direction. If you're in the right place at the right time, the board will do a lot of the work for you to begin with. Let's first start off just by skating around and feeling how these edges move the board. One of your edges will turn the board one direction, as the other edge will bring it in the other direction. When you want to start getting both feet strapped in, it's important to make sure that you know how to balance along the board, nice and centered. So the trick to doing that is try skating along and gliding. And if you're balanced and centered on the board, you'll just keep going straight. Keeping one foot strapped out of the board is also really handy to start with, because you can use that leg to balance on. You don't want to be falling over first thing. So when you're first starting out, it's good to have one foot strapped in, one out to help you balance, and try skating along and feeling how the edges will turn the board for you while you're skating. One edge will turn you one way towards your heels, the other edge will turn you towards your toes. So by being over the right place at the right time, we can balance on our edges and allow the board to turn for us on our heel edge as well as our toe edge. And the board wants us to turn. So once you've got the hang of riding with just one foot strapped in and feeling how those edges will turn your board, the next step is going to something slightly steeper, strapping in both our feet and getting a feel for how we can control our speed by using our edges. The trick is to be nice and balanced and centered over the edge you want to be riding on, and we can change the angle of the board to get it to slide or not. It's at a high angle, it's not going to go anywhere. When it's flatter to the snow, it's going to want to slide. This is one of the first things, once you've got both feet strapped in, you'll need to be trying. First off, you stand up, nice and tall and centered over your board, and balanced on the edge. If you find that balance point, you'll be able to just slide nice and controlled. By bending your knees a little, bringing that edge angle up, you'll slow down, rising up, let it slide. Again, this is all about being in the right place at the right time. So once you feel really comfortable riding and balancing on that heel side down the hill and feeling how the board will slow you down and speed you up, it's very important to do the exact same thing on your toe side edge. Lots of people, when they're learning, try to avoid their toe side because you're sliding backwards down the hill. But without it, you will not be able to progress any further than sliding on your heel side. You'll never be able to get good enough to hit those jumps or cruise down the hill at higher speeds. Toe side is very similar, same idea. You want nice centered balance over the edge you're going to be working on. Only difference is you're going to be facing up the hill, not down it. So check there's no one behind you, stand up nice and tall, bend in your knees, and just let it slide. When you want to stop, bend those knees more. So once you feel comfortable, balanced and stable on both those edges, the heel edge and the toe edge, the next step is starting to move that weight along the board from the nose to the tail, depending on which direction you want to be traveling. And that then leads into linking these edges up and turning down the hill edge to edge. If it is your first time snowboarding, definitely recommend taking a lesson. I personally took lessons for a full week when I first started, and then again the next year for another week, and it definitely avoids any frustration, injuries, and bad times that you could have with the sport, and it left it open to have an amazing time and a great lifestyle on a snowboard.
Going down a snow-covered hill at speed can create challenges for anyone, which is why we have ski patrollers on site. Anne is here now to tell us about the Canadian Ski Patrol, a volunteer ski patrol organization.
Hi, my name is Paul. I'm with the Canadian Ski Patrol. How are you guys? Good. Good. We're just experiencing a little trouble with the chair. So we got some crew coming down to evacuate off the chair here. I'll ask you just to keep your bar down, please, and sit back and just wait for them. It'll be a little bit of time. Is there any medical issues we need to worry about?
I'm a diabetic and I'm getting a bit low.
I can get you something if you need it.
Lovely, thank you.
Excellent. It'll be brought up to you shortly.
It would be wonderful.
The Canadian Ski Patrol is an organization that exists in Canada from coast to coast. It provides services primarily to the ski hills. Safety is one of our primary focuses. We watch to make sure that anything that might hurt people is fixed. And then if someone does hurt themselves, we hope they don't, but if they do, then we're trained to provide first aid services on the hill, package them up and bring them down. The ambulance comes, picks them up, and takes them off to the hospital.
One of my earliest memories of the Canadian Ski Patrol would have been when I was about 12 years old. I tried snowboarding for the first time as a long-haul skier. It did not go well, and I hurt myself right off the bat. I hurt my knee, and they, came up, asked me some questions. Can you get down the hill yourself? I didn't think I could because I was in a lot of pain at the time. Luckily, nothing serious happened, but they put me in a toboggan, and I felt so comfortable with them all the way down. So they really do a wonderful job.
You got great control of them and you can stop them in a second, like now, stop. See? That's what you want to be able to do.
As an organization, Alberta Parks does kind of pride itself on working with volunteers. We have a long-standing history of working with volunteers. Adding Canadian Ski Patrol to the organization just bolsters that, and it really does add value to our operations during the winter. And ultimately, what it leads to is many more people being aware of mountain safety and snow sport safety.
If you go up on the chair, please dress extremely warm. Minimum, you'll be up there for half an hour, and it's cold.
The Canadian Ski Patrol itself comprises of all volunteers. At the moment, we have about anywhere between 42 and 4,500 members. The benefits of being a Canadian Ski Patrol are you get a top-rated first aid program, 60 hours when you start, and you're recertified every year in first aid and CPR. The other thing is that it's a recognized volunteer organization across the country. You go out and you help people. I really enjoy skiing. It's one of my favorite things to do in the world, and I share that with all the other skiers out there.
So I joined Canadian Ski Patrol with my dad as a way to get to spend more time with him this winter, also as just a way to give back to all the wonderful people in our community. I think there are so many people that do so many things for everyone else, so I wanted to find a way to give back to the community.
Anybody who volunteers in an organization like the Canadian Ski Patrol obviously cares quite a lot about what they've done. The amount of training that goes into being a Canadian Ski Patrol member, it's weeks of training. They're then out here when it's -20, -25, and they're doing training out on the hill as well. It says a lot for those members.
If you haven't done this before, it's actually time to leave that perfectly solid, good chair and sketch off onto this rope that's being held by one of your peers. It does take some faith, right?
If someone was interested in joining, we usually have an orientation evening where we explain what goes on. Once you have your first aid training, you've passed all the certifications for CPR and everything, then we come out here and we train you how to evacuate the people out of the chairs. Every year we have to come out here and we get on the chairs and we are evacuated so that we know how it feels, so that we're quite comfortable with it, and that we all know how to work with each other.
Cody, breathe. I'm good. Okay, I really hate this.
And we train you how to get people off the hill on toboggans, and how to handle a toboggan, how to do your on-hill packaging of patients and bringing them down. All of us have to be able to take a toboggan down all the hills here under any conditions. So we actually come out here and do a full weekend of training.
I think it's really wonderful. They've done such a fantastic job of educating us on the first aid and being super supportive with any questions or concerns that we have. They've really helped us along every step of the way to feel confident that when we go out there, we'll be able to help you.
My advice for skiers or snowboarders, regardless of ability, is for you to stop when you get tired. That's when you're most likely to lose balance or focus and injure yourself. Children can tire more quickly than adults, but that doesn't have to end your day in Cypress Hills. We offer snowshoe, cross-country, and kick sled rentals out of our visitor center in Elkwater, or visit our luge and tobogganing hill for free. Regardless of how you spend your winter recreation time, we hope to see you on the slopes soon. And we hope that our tips help you find your edge this winter.